All right then, everyone. It's been a while. Hello and welcome to the return. It's been a while to the return of NEF1 Season 8. We're here for round 6 of the NEF1 Championship. We have moved at cyclist pace. It's been 4 weeks since we were in Miami. We have now arrived in Canada for the Canadian Grand Prix in NEF1, a track which we have not done too much of in NEF1 history. We've done it a couple of times, and it is the location of Wigan 71's first win in NEF1, for example. Had a couple of surprise podiums here as well. Who could be a favourite for tonight? You can't rule out Djokovic at the form he is on. I have raised one of the rookies called YPC Tess as well. Pacey guy should well be up there. You can't rule Nasty Fatty one out. However, reigning NEF1 champion Ondercheck is not racing tonight. Is his presence going to be missed? Absolutely. We'll hopefully see him back in the car next week. But everything is going to be a little bit different, I assume. Both the Red Bulls are heading out straight away. Squidge and Spenclose in that Red Bull outfit that probably were expecting a little bit of a better season so far. Haven't really gotten it, but let's see if they can rebound strong here in Canada until Spenclose goes on a 2-week sabbatical, unfortunately, leaving Squidge all by himself to make those. I'm not going to say nothing. Forgive me, Squidge. Here we go. Lockers is out on track as well. One of two debutants for Kick Sauber. We've got a couple of new faces, and we'll go through them all with you during this Q1 session. But Lockers is the first one out on track in that Kick Sauber. And yeah, it's a brand new Sauber driver lineup of C. Douglas and Lockers Z. So it's going to be an interesting little pairing that we haven't really seen. Well, we don't really know anything about them as of yet. So after Q1, we'll have a bit of an idea, just getting a feel for the track. There's Lockers coming back into the pit lane as Matty Adams, 16, is making his way around his outlap. No one on a fast lap, but that is about to change, as here we go on the back straight. Both the Red Bulls now, Squidge and Spenclose, as YPC Tess is now out on his first lap in NEF1. Outlap should be said, and in that Alpine partnering Darren Stahl. So this is going to be a tasty little lineup. See what Darren Stahl can be able to get out of that car. We expect Tess to be clear of his teammate probably. As in terms of points, we'll wait and see how it all goes. That's going to be an interesting one indeed. Everyone on the correct tire allocation, as well as Kit W41, another debutant, is out on a flying lap at the moment. Is it 5 debutants tonight? Yes, it is. 5 debutants in tonight's NEF1 event, which is why we went a little bit of break to do a full rebuild of the league, but we hopefully are back stronger than ever now. Kit W41 making his way onto the back straight. DRS is enabled, but it looked like he was just struggling a little bit coming out of that turn. Wait and see how it goes. Tricky this place. Very tricky with grip and very tricky with track limits as well, as Tess is now on a flying lap through that first and second corner. Incredibly hard to get right on a set of medium tires, opting to go through on that. We're going to lose one person in this Q1 session at the moment. That is Lockers ZZ, or 22 that might be. It's hard to differentiate. Yeah, it's 22. Let's just do Lockers for the time being. As Squidge sets the first timed lap of the session. It is a 110.339. Spenclose 111.022. Kit W41 says 112.179, so a little bit of a field spread at the moment, but it is just Q1. Everyone's still getting a feel for the track as well. Squidge and Spenclose out on mediums at the moment. As last race's race winner Djokovic is out on track as well on the mediums. Won last time out in spectacular fashion. Wasn't even a contest really. As soon as he got into the lead, he just drove off. Can he do the same here in Canada, just a couple of 100 miles away from the location of his last win? Wait and see, as Amo Bamo is out on a flying lap as well. EBT had a very decent result last time out as well, as there goes Tess ahead of Squidge up at P1. It's a 110.334 versus the 339 from Squidge. So close between those two at the very front. We expect those two to be battling near the front, if not at the very front. BT is also going to give us a little bit of an indicator about where they are. Still awaiting last from the likes of Nasi, Matti, and ABT, as previously mentioned. As Djokovic now has come across actually for 1:10.668, so he'll need to improve by a little bit, but will be safely through with that lap time. Won't have to be concerned with going out again unless he wants to. A little bit of a wobbly moment for ABD coming out of the Wall of Champions, and it's P9, 1:13.315, and he's not safe with that time. Will have to go out again for certain. As for the Haas team against this and Kit, 8th and 9th is the location of those Haas at the moment. As here goes the next debutant, is Shaggy653, racing as reserve currently for Williams, but he's lining up a full-time drive in just the next couple of weeks. Potentially we'll wait and see how everything unfolds. But in that Williams and here to make an impression, let's see what he's going to be able to do. He is followed by Iwatts, who's had a little bit of a moment coming around the Sebastian Vettel-Lewis Hamilton corner of absolute damnation. As Shaggy with an invalidated lap time around the Wall of Champions then. Not going to be able to make this lap count. Ivor will have to go out again. Matty Adams 16 coming around turn 1 and turn 2, and in that Ferrari heading into this particular corner. That's got to feel great. Keeps it nice and tidy and like a certain someone. So here we go, Matty heading into the hairpin now. He has his teammate right out of him. See if he can pick up a little bit of slipstream, but Nasi's also on a timed lap, but it's not a competitive time lap by the look of things. That's a neat little run from Matty Adam, and I expect this lap to see him right at the very front, to be fair. That's a very good lap, and it's not even close to the very front. It's 1:11.379, and that was quick. That looked quicker than it was, actually. Which just tells you how good a lap you've got to put to get to the very front of this session. As Djokovic has just put on display with a 1:10 flat, taking him 3 attempts clear of anyone. Nasi is now giving his lap a proper go at it. Needs to make it out of Q1 is all you've got to do. Both Sauber still in the pit lane along with Shagus on an outdoors on a fast lap now. Sorry. Where is he on track? He's coming up to Sector 3. Okay, so Nasi's in the middle of Sector 3 at the moment. Coming onto the back straight. And one of the longest straights on the F1 calendar, this main overtaking point potentially could be into the Wall of Champions. We'll wait and see. I would still prefer people to overtake into turn 1 and turn 2. We'll wait and see how everything goes, and that's quick. That is incredibly bold by Nasi31, just throwing his car into there. And is it going to be good enough for P1? Yes, it will be by 3/10 of a second. Brilliant lap from Nasi31. Just solidifies his position as the top driver in any F1. Brilliant lap. There goes Shaggy again with an invalidation. Would have been a 1:11.198. Would have seen him 198. Would have seen him in P7 ahead of ABT. So still a very decent lap. Just needs to get it together. Shaggy, Douglas, and Lockers. Neither of the 3 debutants have been able to put a lap together so far. They've got 9 minutes to do so. So plenty of time still remaining in Q1 before we head into the really competitive running of Q2 and Q3. So Nasi at the moment out in front by 3/10 of a second over Djokovic, and that's just saying something because he's 3/10 ahead of YPC Tess, which is an incredible lap time there from Nasi, and it's a good lap time from Djokovic as well, and it's a really good lap time from Tess Squidge. And Iwatts is up there in P5 as well, but I would imagine that's on soft tires. Yes, it is. It's a 1:10.829. We'll see how much lap times start diluting when everyone goes on softs just to gain that little bit of an edge over each other. see who can make it out of this session on those mediums. A Shaggy once again invalidated the lap. This might just be the ending of the lap we saw a couple of moments ago. I think so. As we have an Aston Martin coming out of the pit lane. I would imagine that's Wigan. Yes, it is. Wigan then coming out of the pit lane for a second go at it. Not quite feeling safe, and I somewhat agree with that. 111.283. He'll probably want to improve into the 110s. Question is Ben Close potentially coming out again, then along with Samo, Darren Style, and Kit. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. I love just going through this as well, how most people are using basically the same helmet designs as well, because this game is incredibly limiting when it comes to helmet designs. Unfortunately, we had such a brilliant game for that last time out, and now they've just gone completely backwards, so thanks Codemasters for that. Helmet is one of the things that you could have just copy-pasted, and you didn't even bother to do that. As there we go, see Douglas out on track, then letting a Mercedes go by there. I think it's a BT, or would be a BT, it's the only Merc in the lobby. Who's on a slow lap or was interrupted, one of the two. We'll assume he's on a slow lap. So Douglas then on the back straight on his outlaps, getting a little bit of a toe of Mercedes. See if he can actually keep that through the first straight. No, because the Mercedes dives into the pit lane. Decent exit for Douglas coming out of the chicane and onto his flying lap. Shaggy's out of the pit lane again on a set of mediums. Won't want to burn off too many tyres, just want to get a lap in here. Doesn't even really have to be quick. Just need to get a solid lap time in. If we start burning tyres, we also don't have anything towards the end of qualifying if he does make it into Q3. Wiggins on fast lap as well. We'll keep an eye on what he's going to be able to do. I think it's actually coming up to the line quite soon, so we'll go on board with him in just a moment. But Douglas through the first sector is looking solid. What's Wigan going to be able to do then? Coming out of Wallow Champions, he's improving by about half a second by the look of things, and he improves by 4/10 of a second up to P7, 110.882. That's well inside the top 10, it should be good enough. So we go Douglas on the back straight then, see what he's going to be able to do as well. Needs to beat that 112.179 set by Kit W41. That's the crucial thing. You'll probably want a couple of cars in between you as well. Is Douglas going to be able to do that? No, I think is the answer to that question. And no is the answer to that question. Shaggy now. A little bit of pressure on him. Not too much though. Just need to get a decent lap in. Those mediums is going to help him with that. So it's at this stage, once you've already tried a medium run, should probably be the fast thing you do in Q1 or maybe Q2. Once you've tried that, that's when you dilute, or that's when you change your strategy over to a set of soft tires and then go for it. Locker's still in the pit lane with 4 minutes to go. They should be feeling quite confident by the look of things, as we got a Ferrari out on track. I believe that's Nasty. Yes, it is. As here we go then, Shaggy has made it around that dreaded final corner and is coming up the line. That's a good lap time, 110.844 for Shaggy. Just a couple of thousandths shy of previous NEF1 race winner and champion Matty Adams 16. Yeah, that's a decent lap, Shaggy, up into the top 10, and we'll await to see him in Q2 once again. Douglas then, is he going to jump straight into the pit lane, or is he staying out for another go at this? Because he does need to improve if Lockers comes out. Lockers has left the session. See if we can get him back in. So then he should have an invite pending, so hopefully we can get him back in before the end of this session. 2:55 to go, as Douglas is out hunting for time, but at the moment it is Lockers who would be eliminated without a lap time in this session as well. Skid W41 is on an invalidated lap and needs to do a little bit better. Shaggy, I would imagine, is coming in safe from elimination. We can confirm that now. Nasi, Tess and Djokovic leading this session, as Nasi's just improved further onto a 109.591, and Jesus Christ, Nasi. Actually, seriously, how do you keep doing this? We'll wait and see. Douglas is coming into the pit lane, I believe, with Lockers not in the lobby yet potentially. I think that might be the end of his tenure in this qualifying session. We'll wait and see. Needs to come out now, if nothing else. As people are now probably going to start retiring in the pit lane. Let's give Lockers yet another invite. So Darren on an out lap won't have to complete it. YPC Tess is on an out lap, probably gunning for that fastest lap of this session. On a set of mediums though, and is that lap from Nasi's on a set of mediums? Because if it is, I'm truly scared. We'll wait and see how this goes. As we're going to report as well that Locker's console unfortunately has committed seppuku, and it is unlikely we'll see him back in this lobby during this event. So he will be counted out of race result if that is the case. And we're moving into Q2 with 15 drivers then. C. Douglas and Kit running up P15 and 14 in this Q1 session with Ginsis, Darren Styles, Samo and EBT just outside the top 10. EBT inside the top 10, sorry. Spenclose, Wigan, Shaggy, Matty and Iwat P10 through 5. Up to Squidge, Djokovic, Tess and Nasi is your top 5. And also, is Tess going to be able to break that P1 lap time of a 109.591? We'll wait and see. Is he saving the best to last? He is giving it hell in that Alpine. But he's just not improving, and improving by that much in one single sector should be impossible, unless maybe you put Jarno Opmer in that car, but even then it'd be hard to make up that type of time in this sector. Wait and see. Jarno Opmer as well, if I'm not mistaken, who's actually moving to Alpine, so that was a neat little reference. And on to the Wall of Champions then. This is the risky thing about doing this type of thing at the end of a session. Imagine he'd crashed out there and started at the back. But no, the lap will not be quicker. Just giving up there at the end. Djokovic doing the same. Here we go then, that is the end of the first qualifying session back in NEF1, and it is Nasi, YPC Tess and Djokovic lining up the front field from Squidge and Iwatts in P5. That's a decent top 5 for Iwatts, that. He's followed by Matty, Shaggy, Wiggins, Spenclose and ABT is your top 10. Zamo, Darren Style, Ginsis, Kit and Douglas all make it through. Lockers is eliminated, wasn't able to get a time on the board. His console might have committed seppuku as previously mentioned, and it is unlikely we'll see him again in this session. But then, interesting Q1 session. Nasi's absolutely on fire towards the first couple of minutes then. It's interesting, another couple of things worthy of noting. Matty was experiencing force feedback issues throughout Q1, so that is going to hamper his progress just a little bit. Other than that, everything appeared quite fine. As we can see, the top 4 all set the laps on medium tires, followed by what's a Matty on soft. So that's a bit of a tire discrepancy there. Once you put that soft on, for example, Nasi's car, I reckon he's into the 108 come the end of Q3. We'll wait and see. Other guys that did the same, Shaggy, Spenclose, and BT all qualified on medium tires as well. Here we go then. 15 drivers remaining, Q2, 15 minutes of qualifying action. It's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be an interesting one. 5 cars are going to be eliminated. P15 through 11 come the end of this session. Then on to the top 10 shootout in Q3. But that is all to come. 35 laps worth of racing around this Canadian Grand Prix circuit as well. For what should actually be a really entertaining race by the look of things so far. And especially with a rookie like YPC, Tess is going to be really interesting to see what he's going to be able to pull up in the Grand Prix. Djokovic at the moment with a massive lead in the Drivers' Championship as well. We'll have a look at that. And that lead is only going to expand over championship rival Ondrechek for this weekend. Nasi has a chance to just claw back a little bit should he have a decent race. We'll wait and see. As Shaggy's out first, then nice. Yeah, he is out first on a set of soft tires that he's seating up quite aggressively on this outlap actually. But it is what you have to do on this game. Tire warm-up, not really too easy. You can't just babysit the tires throughout an outlap anymore. But you probably want to treat them a little bit better than what Shaggy's doing right now. ABT is following someone, I don't know who that is. Both the Red Bulls are out as well relatively early, along with Darren Style, Matty Adam, and Douglas. Oh, Shaggy having a little bit of a rough time coming out of turn 3, that'd probably be. Turn 2 or turn 3. Just gonna cost him just that little bit of lap time. Matty's coming up behind him on an outlap, or on a fast lap, sorry, I should say. So it'll be a second in line to cross the line to get a time on the board. But here we go then with Shaggy. First to cross the line instead of flying, or to start his flying lap. And this is a tricky place, so easy to just overshoot a little bit, as Shaggy might have just done a little bit there. Not too bad though. Into the chicane, gotta hit the braking zone just right. Don't want to go too deep into here. Just squeeze the apex a little bit, and nice and early onto the power. It's a long hairpin that. Might be the longest hairpin on the NEF1 calendar. Couldn't think of one that's worse. And here we go, then on to the Wall of Champions. Most unforgiving corner maybe in Formula 1. As almost demonstrated by Shaggy there. If we had a little bit of higher damage settings on, that would have been a front wing. And 111.871 is quickly going to be beaten. Is it going to be beaten by Matty? Yes, it is. 110.401 is then the competitive time to beat. Wiggins coming up to that. But first we have the Red Bull Squidge coming up to beat it, 110.297, where's his teammate, usually not too far behind. He's coming up to the line just now. Is he going to be able to beat that? No, he does not. 110.968. Now, Wes Wiggins should be very much up to the line at this point. Yes, he is. Going to cross the line to set a 110.839. If my eyes aren't deceiving me. And is there anyone else interesting coming up to the line? Not that we have any really uninteresting people, but you get the gist of it. Here we go. Darren Stahl comes across the line and goes faster than Shaggy, faster than Douglas. 111.122 on a set of soft tires. Shaggy 111.8. Douglas 112.292. And who is coming up? No one really is coming up at the moment. Samos just making his way around the happen, and he's going to be next in line to actually set a time. Unless the Haas, no, because his lap has been invalidated. Samo heading into the Wall of Champions down where his teammate almost had a little bit of a whoopsie moment. As Samo almost has a bit of a whoopsie moment going over the curb, though. As it's a 110.95. Oh, that's a decent little lap from Samovan. You could probably gain another 10th through the Wall of Champions if you wanted to. So that's a handy little lap by Samo Bamo, who really is showing some pace here this season. Scoring some decent points every now and again, scoring points almost every race. Yeah, Samo Bamo's having an alright season after the difficult time he had last season out in NEF1. As previous two-time champion Djokovic then making his way around the Wall of Champions, takes it like an absolute champion. On a set of mediums, goes 7th fastest. On a used set of mediums, mind you, 111.618. He'll be in no danger of elimination this session, I'm quite sure. As Tess is struggling coming out of turn 2, and that's a risk of being on old mediums. As Nazi is going to complete his lap on old mediums, and it's going to be... Please tell me Squidge wasn't actually on softs there. No, he wasn't. Good. Matty was, however. That is 2 times quicker than his teammate on a well-worth used tire. So, Nazi 31, everybody. Breathe it in, because my goodness is this man rapid around this place. Here we go, this is absolutely mental. iWatts then is going to come across the line in a couple of minutes time, or a couple of moments time I should say. A couple of minutes, then something's gone horribly wrong to the back of that Honda power unit. Through the Wall of Champions then, with iWatts who almost touches it, just keeps it out. And across the line is going to be a 1 min 11.494, puts him up in P8, currently inside the top 10. Might have difficulty staying there with that type of lap time as Tess is coming up, and I'm sure that's iWatts going to be down in P9. No, because Tess has a 113.274 on a set of, used mediums. Kit now the only driver not with a time on the board yet. We have we have Ferrari, Red Bull, Ferrari up front, followed by an Aston Martin, Williams, and another Red Bull. But Ferrari at the moment are having a good day. P1 and 3. As into the pit lane for Kit W41. So here we go, Tess into the Wall of Champions then. Gonna try to improve a little bit on this medium tire. I don't really understand why, because lap has been invalidated. Surely at this stage you just go into the pit lane, pick up a set of softs and go out, try to solidify a better position. Still a lot of time in qualifying to go, as Ginstis I believe it actually ran out of fuel there. Heading into the pit lane now, just inside the top 10 by a couple of thousandths or a couple of hundredths of a second. Shag is inside it by a couple of tenths of a second, about 1.5. As Djokovic has been able to breach that top 5 now should be said as well, with a 110.395 on a used set of mediums. Still quicker than Matty on a fresh set of softs. So Djokovic and Nasi and Squidge for all sakes and purposes as well. They're still working the mediums, and I suspect they'd actually go through on those mediums. We'll wait and see. Do you want to risk it, really? Don't know. I don't know. Whomever makes that judgment and gets it right is going to be at a massive advantage going into Q3. However, none of them actually have any knowledge of that medium or of that soft tire heading into Q3 even, which is going to put them at a massive disadvantage. Say BT then needs to improve a little bit to get into the top 10. 112.919 actually needs to improve by well over a second to make it in. So let's see what it can improve by in the fast sector, because I do reckon it would be an improvement. Never mind, improves by in Sector 2, apparently, because Sector 1 is very short around this place. Sector 2 improved, yep, that is a margin and a half, he is cutting in. So, decent lap this at the moment from a BT, let's see where he can place him on the grid. Or on the provisional grid, should be said. Is Darren at the moment into P8, 111.021, as a very, very decent lap from the other Alpine. Whilst his teammates headed into the pits finally on those very worn set of mediums at this point, probably. Here we go then, with a BT coming across the line. Is going to be a 110.828. Goes up to P5. Doesn't put any type of pressure, however, on that top three on the mediums, and I reckon that might have been the lap that made all of them just relax a little bit. Are they actually all going to go through on the same set of tyres that they went through into Q2 with to begin with? And are we only going to see their true pace in Q3? I'd suspect so. At this stage, I would suspect so. As here we go, Kit W41 coming across, coming around the last corners of Sector 2. See what he's going to be able to do heading into the hairpin as well. Get the braking point right, get the turning point right. Just kiss the apex, absolutely beautiful. Bit untidy on the exit, not too bad. Get the power nice and early down. That's now, oh my goodness, nasty. 109.989 on a very worn set of medium tires. The fact that he's just finding time on that tire as well. So let's see what Kit has up his sleeve with that medium. Nothing, and I don't understand why he's on the mediums at this stage, because that would have probably been a lap to get him into the top 10 if he had the right tires, which is the soft tires on. So he's got to hurry it back now, get a set of softs on. YPC Tess has gotten a set of softs on, so he should be going straight up into the top 10. With the pace we saw from in Q1, should realistically be going into P1 here. But we'll wait and see. Could just be the case that he's holding back a little bit on this lap as well. You never know. I have raced around a couple of tracks with this guy as well. He is fast and he is, yeah, it's a thrilled race, YPC Tess. I had a really nice evening a couple of weeks back. So here we go then, coming across, or coming under the bridges of the back straight, and into the Wall of Champions complex. There's someone ahead of him, that's going to be a little bit distracting. As Douglas has crashed out, he's going to be the first retiree of this qualifying session. As Tess invalidated his lap, of one more go at this. I'll have one more go at this because he needs to make it round once more. And now with this situation, Tess is actually in danger of being eliminated from this session. Cywatts is, he has a realistic chance to make it out of this session as well, and into Q3 once again. Nassi's retired from the session, opting he's not going to be eliminated, I very much agree. So is Squidge, and I would imagine then Djokovic and Matu will follow shortly. As Spenclose moves up into P2, 110.276, Cywatts making his way into the Wall of Champions, see if he can improve just a little bit on that set of softs. And he can by 0.006 of a second. The question is he going to be able to get around another outlap or a second outlap? He would. Cywatts is actually going to have one more go at this should he have the tyres to. People are now starting to retire. Spenclose is in P2, so he's safe from elimination mathematically now as well. As Wiggin just feels like he's got to improve a little bit to solidify that position. I don't blame him for it, even though I don't think it's really necessary. I think the cutoff is going to be about a 111 flat. We'll wait and see. Shaggy Van on the back straight heading into the Wall of Champions. We almost had a moment a couple of minutes ago. Gets a bit untidy on the exit, but keeps it together very nicely. As YPC Tess has retired from this session. Has he retired in the pit lane? Yes, I don't believe he thinks he would have been able to get another lap in, and that's him starting from the back of the grid. for the Canadian Grand Prix, 15th overall, and a disappointing qualifying session for him after showing some really good pace actually. Q2 just not working out for him really. So here we go then, we have 3 people remaining in contention for the top 10. Ginsters, Iwatts and Kit. And who is leading that charge at the moment would be Iwatts is all ahead. Darren, Samo and a BT are the drivers in danger, but there's quite a way up to them. Iwatts then coming up to the sector split needs to improve by 4 tenths of a second, if not more, 2.5 tenths of a second. It's not impossible, but he needs to ace that final corner. Needs to absolutely ace it. As Shaggy's made his way up to P2 actually with a brilliant lap time. It's a 110.121. As Spenclose goes even quicker than that. Things are changing up. Here we go, Iwatts through the wall of champions. What's he going to be able to do? Full commitment. Doesn't matter if you crash out at this point. Now, let's see. Coming up to the line. Is it going to be a 110? Yes, it is. It's going to be good enough. But it puts a beat in a bit of a pickle now. Ginsters going in. And Kit is out. BT just survives a 110.8. A 111 was indeed the cutoff as mentioned previously. BT just makes it through by a few tenths of a second. He will have been a little bit worried towards the end of that session. But he just makes it through regardless. BT, Iwatts, Samo, Matty, Djokovic, Squidge, Wigan Shaggy, Spenclus and Nassi all make it through into the top 10 shootout. Darren, Ginsters, Kit, Douglas and YPC Tess are all lost here in Q2. As here we go then, we are into Q3 territory. 10 incredibly fast guys left in this session. We'll see how it all goes. It's going to be a very, very interesting one. Hello to everyone watching as well. Hopefully you're enjoying the continuation of the NEF1 season. We have the top 10 in Canada here with you. We got 2 Ferraris, we got 2 Red Bulls, 2 Williams, 2 Aston Martins, and Lone Riders for Mercedes and RB. So it's going to be an interesting one. At the moment, you've got to pick Nassi probably as your favourite for pole position. It's been absolutely mighty here so far. We've not seen him out on a set of soft tires yet, though. Could it be that he's just very good on the mediums? I doubt it. I think he's going to be quite good on the softs as well, but it's all coming up. Shaggy did put a very decent lap in at the end of that Q2 session as well. Placed him in P2 provisionally. I think he ended the session in P3 if I'm not mistaken. Might have actually been P2 though, now that I try to recollect. Samos had a pretty quiet session, but a very, very okay one as well, making it into Q3 once again. Both the Red Bulls are there as they usually are. Iwatts, maybe the surprise really for Q3 here, but definitely on this place. Showing some brilliant pace at the moment is Iwatts. Let's hope he can make his way a bit further up the grid than just P10 here. We'll wait and see. Iwatts, I'm sure, really happy to be in Q3 once again this season. So then, here we go. Who is first out? Then I believe it might have been Shaggy. Yes, it was. So Shaggy gets the privilege of having his lap shown, as is usually the case if you're first out. Here we go then, through turn 1 and turn 2, nice and tidy on the exit, brilliant on the power as well. And into the Seb Vettel corner, and oh, that is as close to the track limit as you could possibly be. Just over the limit on that throttle though, just getting a bit of a tank slapper on. Oh, going deep into that corner though, and oh yeah, it's not a very tidy first sector that from Shaggy. His lap is going to suffer because of it, and he's already abandoned it, unfortunately. As for Nasty, he's coming up to the scene of the crime, as is Matty Adams 16, just going past Shaggy, who's abandoned his lap entirely. So let's see what is going on further down here. Matty Adams 16 into the hairpin, then is going to be able to kiss that apex. Just slightly locks up. Going to cost him about maybe half a tenth at most, though. Back straight to see how rapid that Ferrari is in a straight line. We're not really looked at straight line speed. It's a bit of a track that you do need straight line speed to overtake here, but you don't want to compromise for the first and second sector. It's not a rapid Ferrari, that. But here we go, and across the line it's a 110.077 for Matty. He's going to be, I would imagine, considerably quicker from his teammate, maybe even a 108. We'll wait and see. No, but a low 109.338. 6.5 tenths quicker than his teammate. Squitch is at a bad lap. Shaggy's at a bad lap. Djokovic is making his way around the Wall of Champions, touching the Wall of Champions. And P2. Here we go then, BT on an out lap, Iwat on a flying lap as well. Samuel's made his way up into P5 with Wigan in P6. Squidge and Shaggy, who don't really need to count their laps, not representative, but relatively close at the front. Spen close, however, half a second behind Djokovic, so those two are in a league of their own at the moment. It's Nassi and Djokovic, separated by 2.5 tenths, so still a little bit of a gap between those two as well. Here we go with BT and Iwatts coming around the hairpin in Sector 2. Sector 3 should be dead. As here we go, round the Wall of Champions with Iwatts coming across the line, 111.278. Only good enough for P9, I'm afraid. As Shaggy was able to improve to a 110.513. BT's now in the pit lane as well. Squidge was able to make it up to a 109.713, so he's challenging the top two a little bit more. It is nicely executed, that lap though from Squidge, I'm very, very sure. As Beat is the only one at the end of this first stint, really, in Q3 that hasn't put a time on the board quite yet. So then, 6 minutes ago in this session, everything is just gonna die down a little bit until probably 3 or 4 minutes remaining, as it usually does in Q3. Usually two very distinct sets, but actually no, the provisional pole sitter's out in the middle of this, and well, he can because he has the tyres too. Made it through with only one set of tyres through Q1 and Q2. Then you have the privilege of being able to do stuff like this, which is somewhat ridiculous, but absolutely go for it. 3 sets of tyres is going to be consumed then by Nassi 31 in Q3, unless you can set a world record lap here. But that is going to improve by that much. Getting closer to the 108s. He is getting closer to the 108s, as previously mentioned. And whomever dips a toe in that 108 is definitely going to be, I would imagine, on the front row, if not on pole position. And at a track like this, pole position, yeah, could be quite helpful. Overtaking here, don't see it being that easy. We'll wait and see. Squidge is on an outlap as well. Needs to stay clear of Nassi on that outlap, but it's not too much traffic to manage. Nassi's not going to be able to catch him as well. So here we go then. Very decent first sector from Nassi. Not improving, however, on this first lap, as the track conditions have gotten worse and worse as well, should be mentioned, throughout this qualifying session. It used to be really nice and dry, nice and clear. Now it's still very dry, but overcast, and that is going to affect track temperature. And on this lap, Nassi has invalidated, so that'll mean it's straight into the pit lane for Nassi and go again. As Djokovic is headed out already with 4 minutes to go. Too late to do what Nassi just did, but a bit too early maybe to optimize the track conditions. As how on earth has that happened for Squidge, getting his lap time invalidated that quickly, unless it did in the Wall of Champions, which could have happened. Movement in the Ferrari garage as Nassi's coming in. Is Matty coming out? No, not yet, and won't be doing so for half a minute. While still tow his teammate back into the garage. And also wears a BT. He's on the left hand side of your screen, sat in his garage with his mechanics just standing around him in a nice little kindergarten circle, not really doing anything. So let's wait and see when movement in the pit lane starts to occur. But we've got a couple of people out on outlaps at the moment, 4 people in total. Wigan Iwatts, Shaggy and Djokovic. So Wigan and Iwatts then. 110.8 and 111.278 respectively. I believe Iwatts has quite a bit more lap time in him. If you can get the foot down, wait and see. The ABT, you've got to consider him a factor as well, but he's still not headed out, ABT. 2 minutes 30 to go, should be time soon, but he's leaving himself with 1 lap to do this, so it's got to be somewhat of a safe lap even. Where's Djokovic? Where's Djokovic? Where's the championship leader? He is weaving to warm up his tyres on his maybe even second outlap this. And where's ABT? Movement down a Mercedes. ABT's coming out of the pit lane. As should everyone now with 2 minutes to go. Both the Red Bulls should be coming out quite soon as well. Squidge and Spenclose. I would imagine then Spenclose, is he going to sacrifice his lap to give Squidge a tow? We'll wait and see. Djokovic then is coming across the line to start his last flying lap of the session. I'll have time for 2, he'll have battery for 1 as there's a Mercedes just coming out of the pit lane there, and that will have been distracting. How much time is that going to have lost him? But we'll wait and see, we'll find out in just a moment. But it will have been distracting to Djokovic, that seeing a Mercedes just pop up. But he's still improving through the first sector, and he's improving by enough to pose a viable threat to Nassi for provisional pole position here. Shaggy invalidates his lap once again. He's got to get across the line in the next minute 16. He'll have time to do that a couple of times over. As Wigan is improved up into P6, and that'll probably be the best time he sets this session. Yes, it will be a 110.128. Djokovic is improving. Purple Sector 2. Purple Sector 2 from Djokovic. Is he going to be able to snatch pole position away from Nassi here, who is currently also on a flying lap? Through the Wall of Champions, throwing his car into there, no remorse whatsoever. Here we go with Djokovic. Is it going to be provisional P1? He misses out by 600ths of a second. Nassi is still on pole, and he looks to extend that lead as well. Matty's on the other side of the track at the moment. It's being followed by Wigan as well as on a slow lap. We'll keep an eye on everyone, but I think with this we can confirm no one is going to be touching Nassi today, because my goodness, he's still improving. Is it going to be a 108? It gets very close to it. It's a 109.068 Nasi 31. Take a bow. Squidge is improving, but surely is not going to be able to be by enough. With the way track conditions are at the moment, his checkered flag has dropped. Where's he beat? He's coming up to the sector split now as well. 41.503 doesn't tell me much, to be fair. As Close has ended the session in P4, so let's see if we can keep track of that. Matty and Wigan both in the pit lane, so it depends on Samo, Iwatts and BT. Squidge then, what is he going to be able to deliver coming across the line? It's not going to be provisional P1, it's going to be P3 provisionally, 6,000ths of a second behind Djokovic, and that could have been a massive difference starting on the front row or not. But it's a all Red Bull second row of the grid unless Samo can do anything about it. No, he can't. Is Iwatts going to be able to do anything about it? No, he can't. P10 for Iwatts, P9 for Shaggy, P8 for Samo, who qualifies his rookie teammate. Shaggy's racing reserve, keep that in mind. Wigan in P7, following his old teammate Matty Adams, 16 in P6. BT makes it up to P5 with a decent lap. He's following Close and Squidge. P4 and P3, both the Red Bulls is where we expect them. And Djokovic, just shy, not just shy at the end. 3/10 shy of Nasi 31 come the end of qualifying. Nasi, he's just when he decides to, he's just unbeatable. It's an absolute demolition job in qualifying, must be said, from Nasi. Brilliant stuff. As we can see there, quite a bit of field spread through, especially P1 and P2, but down to P10 as well. Nasi in a league of his own at the moment. We'll see how everything happens during the race. Only a couple of attempts separate the top three. We'll see if it makes for an intriguing race. At a track where overtaking, not going to be too easy, but I don't think it will be impossible. So here we go then, we will be going to a little bit of a break before we get this race underway as well. Just give everyone a little bit of time to breathe, have a drink, go for a break, anything they want to do. I'll be back to announce when we are getting the race underway, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with you in just a couple of minutes for the Canadian Grand Prix here in NEF1. Stay tuned, we'll be right back with you. Okay, then everyone, we are back for full coverage of the Canadian Grand Prix here in NEF1, and I can confirm that the ready up has now been given. I'll be going racing in about 30 seconds worth of time for the Canadian Grand Prix as well. Hello everyone watching, hopefully you are enjoying yourself, having a good time, and hopefully you will be enjoying these 35 laps worth of racing action that's about to come as well. With Nassi on pole position, favourite for the Grand Prix for sure, but Djokovic, he just took off last time out, I should probably say. It wasn't last week. It was a lot of weeks ago, but last time out in Miami. As soon as he got in the lead, he just flew away. Who is going to win? We have no clue. YPC test starting out of position as well. Basically last on the grid. We'll wait and see as the formation lap ensues. Please post predictions for your winner down below. I'll see who is correct come the end of this. Nassi from Djokovic, from Squidge and Spenclose and A-Beat is your top 5. He is followed by Matty Adams 16 and former teammate Wigan 71. Actual teammates for this weekend is Amo Bamo and Shaggy 653 in P8 and P9, and iWatts Soul Driver Ferrari Toro Rosso in P10. Turnstiles P11 followed by Ginstis Kit W41. They're followed by C Douglas, YPC Tess and Lockers. So see if we can get ourselves into a party as well and stop disturbing the guys who's actually racing so they don't have to listen to me scream all over the in-game chat. That should have sorted issue. As here we go, then Nassi's going to take the formation lap. Let's see if we can get everything up and running as we wanted to. There we go. And Djokovic starting alongside him in P2. I can't remember which side on the grid everyone started on. I will see. I would imagine maybe Nassi starts on the inside for this one. I'd certainly hope so. Want that pole position to be rather powerful basically at every track you go to, so realistically pole position should be on whichever side of the grid that the pole sitter wants to. I mean, should be the case in my opinion, but not really the case. Usually a set position by the FIA. Hopefully by saying FIA I don't get this video, this channel and everything else claimed, because we are actually named NEF1, which is a dangerous name at the moment. Because you're not allowed to be named that, according to Formula 1 management and everything else. Should probably stop speaking now. Just gotta have a little dig at them for what I've been doing throughout the last couple of weeks. It's a massive bit of chaos as the Mercedes just all over the place. That'll be a BT doing burnouts in an aggressive manner. Looking for his grid slot as well, as he's about to miss it. There we go, everyone is parked up on the grid then. And we're ready to go for the Canadian Grand Prix and the lights that are going to start coming on in just a moment. Don't go anywhere, because the Canadian Grand Prix is about to start, because we have 5 red lights. And it's lights on, away we go. Nassi gets off to a good start. Djokovic as well. But Squidge is going to be challenging him down the inside into the first corner. And he might well have that position if he forces Djokovic a little bit wide towards the inside. But he doesn't. Djokovic holds on to P2. Squidge just makes slight contact with him. Manages to hold on. BT is challenging Spenclose into turn 3 and 4. Not going to be able to get that done. Squidge holds on. Spenclose P4. Beating P5. Actually one massive loser is Samo, who's lost out a lot throughout this start. But other than that, relatively clean. YPC Tess up 3 positions, Lockers up 2 positions, a couple of people up 3 positions, iWatts, Darren Ginsis and Kit, Wigan down 4. But a lot going on here at the start. It has been quite hectic. A Red Bull and a Ferrari, I believe, of Matty and Spenclose coming together a little bit. Those two got very close together in Miami as well, and now maybe that trend just continues on here. Along with the Mercedes and the Red Bull ahead of MSA, BT and Squidge, who's getting quite close together as well. Djokovic now, crucial thing for him, stay within the arrest range of Nassi for the next couple of corners and be able to drag himself just that little bit closer, because Nassi's rapid around here. 7/10 of a second was the gap heading into the Wall of Champions. It's now about 5/10 of a second as Nassi sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, but Djokovic is rapid through that third sector and is now half a second's worth of gap, which isn't a lot. Let's see if Djokovic can start lining up a move maybe on Nassi 31. And move that could be huge for the championship if we can make this work. Ondercheck not racing here tonight. is getting ever closer as well, as a BT's getting ever closer to Squidge ahead of him, as a BT's really found a bit of form this season. Last time out in Miami, had a very good race there, and now he's having a good time here in Miami. Oh, sorry, in Canada, sorry. It's been a while since I did commentary, and I think it tells, or I think it shows. Just gotta get back into the rhythm with this. Nasi, Djokovic, Squidge, BT, and Matty's your top 5, and followed by Spenclose and Iwas actually had a really good start up. 3 positions up to P7. Ginstis up to P8. Darren up to P9. And Shaggy should say down into P10. What's going on with YPC? Tessie's had a problem with potentially one of the Hasses into the hairpin. What has gone on there? YPC Tess lost a front wing. Yes, he has. I'll have to come in once again, see if we get a safety car because of the debris. But I don't think so. Nasi is holding on to P1 at the moment, followed by Djokovic and Squidge. A beat in P4, followed by Matty in P5. Spenclose P6, followed by Iwatson P7, Ginsis, Darren and Shaggy. But then disaster for both Kit and YPC Tess. See who comes out of pit lane ahead. YPC gonna be able to get past the Haas? No, he does not. As should be mentioned as well, Lockers is not a physical driver. Feel free to go right through him, and his race will be discounted at the end of this session. Won't stand for anything and won't show up on any of the graphics, as he is in AI mode for the entirety of this event. Spenclose now with a little bit of DRS on a BT, who, thankfully for him, has a little bit of DRS on Matty Adams 16. But this is what I'm talking about. Even with that DRS, BT wasn't massively closing in on Matty. Djokovic now says the fastest lap at the Grand Prix. With the help of that DRS, you can start pulling himself alongside Nasi and really start to make the Latvian sweat that little bit. Djokovic is really good at these kind of things. So let's see, it's a much improved Djokovic this season from last season as well. And Djokovic was good last season, but now when he finds his form like he is at the moment, he's just absolutely mighty. As here we go then, with DRS and battery enabled, I'm quite sure the gap is coming down, but is it going to come down by enough for Djokovic to try to make a move? He pulls to the inside, he takes the lead of the Canadian Grand Prix away from Nasi on lap 4. Didn't take him too long now. See if Djokovic can build on that and shake Nasi as he did a couple of weeks ago in Miami. Djokovic fastest lap of the Grand Prix. As Kit now, 3 second time penalty for multiple track limits infractions. BT's gone into the pit lane already on lap 5 out of 35. I would imagine damage, but I couldn't see anyone holding a front wing. Hard ties is going on, so it's a weird strategy if nothing else. As Tess is now maybe just going to try to go long here on these hard ties. If he can make it to the end, still on for, yeah, a very decent result here. Depending on if we have any safety cars and when they come out. As Matty's made his way up in P4 at the moment, so it's Aston Martin, Ferrari, Red Bull, Ferrari, Red Bull, Haas. Ginstis must be said as having an absolutely brilliant race at the moment up in P6. That Haas is just working with him at the moment. Cy Watts is making a lot of good use about his RB as well. Yellow flags in Sector 2 is a Mercedes and an issue, and that is BT freshly out of the pit lane. And yeah, I see without a front wing end plate. Yes, he is. So BT's race has gone from potentially bad to definitely bad and really worse, maybe. As Nasi's at the moment very much sticking with Djokovic here. 6/10 of a second is the gap thereabout. As Matty will be quite desperate to get ahead of Squidge quite soon. He's closing in, and Squidge is almost letting him have that little look down his inside around that, or into that corner. Skid picks up another 3-second time penalty for track limit warnings, and it is one of those tracks that's just going to promote those types of penalties. We'll see how much. As here we go then, Matty on Squid. Surely there's nothing that the Red Bull can do to defend this one. Matty swoops around the outside, gonna take that position quite easily. Spenclose gonna try to follow him through. No, it is not. It's Matty, Squid, Spenclose. P3, 4, and 5. Then a little bit of a gap down to Ginstis, who's fending off Iwatts at the moment through the Wall of Champions. And Iwatts has to contend with Shaggy as well. For P8. Then a little bit of a gap, 1.8 seconds down to Wiggins. So that's going to give them a little bit of breathing room. Just a bit of time to react to whatever's going on here, whatever's going on around them. So Iwatts is having increased looks at the moment against this. Something's happened to Nasi as well, who's now all of a sudden 2.3 seconds behind Djokovic. That's gotta have been some little error or something every there and again. Because 2.3 seconds is a lot of time to break down a lap or two, even by Djokovic standards, especially over a driver of Nasi's caliber. Here we go, Iwatts on Ginstis. Does he have enough battery to really attack? Using the DRS, maybe pulling towards the inside? No. Thinks better of it. Might just try to line up a move into turn 1 though, but it's hard to follow through the Wall of Champions. He is closing, but he's not close enough to think about a move down the inside there. Not close enough, as Douglas is now hunting down Zamo Bamo. Azamo then, who is provisionally running inside the top 10 because we are excluding lockers from the result. And it's an Iwatts is running incredibly close against this at the moment. Darren Stahl picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit violations. Now behind his teammates YPC as well. Might have gone into the pit lane, Darren Stahl. We'll have a look at that in a little bit. Yeah, YPC, Darren, Kit, and ABT all having made pit stops, and there we can see what tire everyone is on as well. So Iwatts now, surely this is the time where he swoops down inside of Ginstis, Haas, and yes he does. Iwatts then up into the top 6, and that's a very good position if he can make that work. And Ginstis is now going to get busy with Shaggy. They're going to slow each other down a little bit. No, Ginstis lets the Williams go, not finding it too hard. P8 still a very good position now. Just got to stay clear of any scraps that's really going to cost them time at the moment and allow Wigan to catch back up. Because Wigan at the moment not having the best of pace here during the Grand Prix. Had decent qualifying pace during the race, has not really worked for him so far. Unlike his teammate, who has come absolutely alive during the Grand Prix, but Nasi's now just closing that gap a little bit. And keep an eye on it. As for the battle for P3, 4, and 5, it remains unchanged at the moment. Matty's running in the last podium position along his teammate in Djokovic, with Squidge shortly behind him, with Spenclose ready to pounce as well if need be. And how's YPC Test doing at the moment? He is lapping an incredible amount per lap faster than Douglas at the moment. Squidge has actually been able to get past Matty, and how on earth did that happen into the Wall of Champions? As Matty's now going to have a look down the inside into turn 1. No, he doesn't. So Tess is lapping at a rapid rate at the moment. It's giving it absolutely everything. He's pulling on decent laps as well. With that's at a hard tyre, but it's a hard tyre that I would imagine he wants to make work towards the end of the race, if not the very end of the race. We're making that last for 30... what does it turn into? 32 laps. That's going to be a challenge. If you can do it, it's a driver of the day performance if he can get it done, but it's going to be tricky for him. We'll wait and see. We'll not make any judgment about strategy. It was forced onto that strategy, but we'll not make any judgment calls until we know a bit more. As Shaggy's now made his way past iWatt's as well. They beat now. Freezing and time penalty, multiple track limits and fractions. As Matty's very close to Squidge here. And now, with that little wobble, Matty might just have a look. Down the inside into turn 1, and that's going to turn into a neat little battle potentially. Matty just outbreaks him there. Takes P3 away from him. And Squidge now with a freezing and time penalty for track limits. As soon as you go over those, it's a straight warning, even if you just touch them a little bit. As Shaggy's gone into the pit lane, maybe trying a bit of an undercut really on the guys ahead, trying to force Spenclose and Squidge maybe to react, but there's a long way up. Let's see how effective the undercut is. It's not really come out in clean air. I should explain the way the reserve system is at the moment. Shaggy at the moment is only scoring points for himself and not Williams. So Samo doesn't actually, now he did let him go, but Samo actually doesn't have any type of interest in helping Shaggy's race along. Even though they're racing in the same car at the moment. Because say if Shaggy were to score 15 points, those will not go towards Williams. They'll only go towards his driver's championship tally, if that makes sense. Oh, and that's a problem for Shaggy, which is going to affect Samo as well. Couldn't quite react to it, but Shaggy finding the wall of champions rather aggressively there. As at the moment, the gap between the two leaders, Djokovic and Nassi, is remaining at about 1.6 to 1.9 seconds. Anywhere in the middle of that. Usually about a 1.7 or 1.8. So not too much going on at the very front at the moment. It's quite calmed down. But I would imagine Nassi's going to pull the trigger on a pit stop first, and that's going to send Djokovic into a frenzy, because undercut range, a second and a half potentially. I'd say it's a one lap undercut range. As soon as Nassi undercuts him, he'll be straight back into the DRS on Djokovic though, challenging him. And this is the recovery job that YPC Tess is doing as well. Now that Shaggy's made his pit stop, YPC is only 6 seconds behind him, so YPC is actually doing a mega job in that Alpine at the moment, trying to recover after his previous incident with what we believe was Kit W41. Is that Shaggy who's had an issue in Sector 1? Yes it is, coming out of Sector 2, or coming out of Turn 2. That is YPC's teammate Darren Stahl running ahead of him. As here we go, Squidge pulls the trigger actually on an early pit stop. So let's see. Shaggy, 3 second time penalty for multiple track limit violations. His undercut range is now gone with that previous incident. And let's see, where does Squidge come out? Well ahead of Lockers. That is a brilliant strategy call from Squidge, because he now has free air for 8 seconds up into the next car. And Squidge, yeah, he's just in a land of his own at the moment. He's going to be able to push as hard as he wants to. as Shaggy has retired from this session. Potentially he's retired in the pit lane. Yes, he has. Djokovic then 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit warnings. That is going to shake things up a little bit. Nasi in P2, 2.6 behind. But he is struggling coming out of turn 1. He's losing time. Not a given. It's a long way still to go. 20 laps, but not even halfway distance yet. As Matty Van still very tightly behind Spenklos. Has something happened to YPC Tess? I don't think so, not that I can see at the moment. Just do that just in case I got a message that I didn't quite understand. As Ginstis makes it past the AI driver lockers and picks up a 3-second time penalty for doing so. So then Djokovic has made his pit stop actually. Nasi appears to be going long potentially as Kit is now retired from this session. And how's that happened? That's been retirement on track from Kit, which is going to be quite a severe penalty. That definitely is not allowed. As Djokovic is coming up to the scene, a massive pace is parked on the outside. Everyone be wary. As here we go, and Nasi's coming into the pit lane. And new boots coming on. So the question is that... Oh, it's another 3-second time penalty for Djokovic. And this might be costing him the race. Djokovic now is going to come out well ahead of Nasi, but the question is how much ahead? And on what tyres are they coming out on? Nasi crucial for him to get out of iWatts, or get out ahead of iWatts. It's a 5.3 second gap. Both on hard tyres, trying to go to the end. So Djokovic and Nasi, this is now an intriguing fight due to penalties, because Djokovic in the race at the moment just has the pace of Nasi. Can Nasi keep with him? So here we go then. Matty, Spenklos and Squidge find each other on track once again. iWatts is currently up in P3. Has he made a pit stop yet? Yes, he has, a long time ago, as Douglas has now left the session. See if we can get him back. So kicking off at the same time. And what is a bit of a chaotic race tonight is going to be quite different next week as we go to Austria. for the first time in a lot of seasons in NEF1 as well. So Sam at the moment running a bit of a race of his own along with Ginst this week, not really too close behind them, so not really going to be challenging. But Sam and Ginst, this is going to be an intriguing little battle. Then we have YPC Tess on Darren, and maybe Douglas is now back in, thankfully. And Ginst has now made a pass. Samo, who's going sideways into the wall of champions. Jesus Christ. That was one of those things you just went on to someone just as something interesting was happening. Would have loved to see the build-up of it. And now there's a nice little 4-car train. It is Iowa, Squidge, Spenklos, and Matty Adams 16. Yeah, it's 3 Red Bulls versus 1 Ferrari at the moment. I don't particularly rate Matty's chances here. Let's see how hard Iowa's defends these positions, or if he's quite quick in letting them go. Because what he could now do is massively aid Squidge and Spenklos if he holds Matty up, or if he holds Spenklos and Matty up a little bit. As he goes deep into that corner, is he going to let one of the Red Bulls go? No, he does not. And this is going to turn into an almighty scrap. Spenklos is going to do everything he can to just get ahead of that RB. And Matty, I think, is going to battery dump to do the same. Indeed. As Nassi Evans does the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Say BT now just getting track limit warnings after track limit warnings. Will look to be a really good evening for him after qualifying, and after the first couple of laps, and the race is turning to be an absolute horror show for him. And it just keeps getting worse by the look of things, as well, having issues throughout the wall of champions. I don't think ABT is going to be looking back at the Canadian Grand Prix too lightly. One of his 2 home races on the calendar, as well the second one coming up. See if he has a bit of time in there in a couple of weeks' time. He's not enjoying his race right now, let me tell you that. Still though, points to play for at the very end here if you get the fastest lap, even outside the top 10. It does pay dividends with a championship point. As Matty on Spenklos then in turn 1 gets ever closer, but not quite close enough to start thinking about a move. On lap 21 out of 35, past the halfway point of this Grand Prix, and it's actually going by rather quickly at the moment. It's a quick track. Wiggins made his way past Bamo, who's actually in the pit lane, so that's why. No pit notifications though, which is a bit odd. As Nolax is saying, there's a Canadian curse on a beat, and I might be inclined to agree with you realistically on that one. Also, thank you for everyone who has followed us throughout this stream. Gone to from 165 to 170 followers. Much obliged. Well on the road to 200 now, so let's see if we can get there. So Nassi at the moment is actually catching up to Djokovic quite a little bit. So Nassi, just don't pick up any penalties and might have this one in the bag with 13 laps to go. So that's the fastest lap at the Grand Prix in the meantime as well. So when in this battle is just continuously ongoing, and the Red Bulls can actually use each other here in the situation, and I believe that might be what they're doing. They're just using each other to pull each other along and making sure Matty can't overtake either of them. They're just waiting each other out as well. Let's see when Matty starts properly attacking to get past them. Shouldn't be too long. A little over 10 laps to go. As we say bye-bye to Spenclose, Matty Adam picks his way up in P4 and now gonna be setting off the Squidge. And now the safety element's gone. Now Matty, uninterrupted DRS over Squidge 2017. Running in a podium position here was his position he would desperately need to pick up. But Matty's gonna make a move into turn 1. No, he gets close. But thinks better of it. Would have been a fun move to see that though. Would have been a really fun move to see. As Spenclose decides to be a little bit too intimate with the wall coming out of turn 2 by the look of things. Just nudging it slightly. And whilst this battle is going on, it looks like the track map from Australia during round 1 of Season 8 has returned, when no one's really doing anything with no one. Lockers is 2 temps within YPC's pace, but we're not going to be looking at that, as he's an AI driver. As Matt is now made it past Squidge 2017 as well, and up to top 3. It's a double Ferrari podium at the moment and could turn into 1-3 because Nasi's now closed the gap to Djokovic to within 4 seconds. 3.7 seconds the gap, and Djokovic has 3. Oh, what's going on there? There's someone parked the wrong way. That was a BT, but it was Djokovic or Nasi. So went a little deep into the hairpin from Wigan 71. I've been quiet for a little bit. Not too much going on at the moment, really. Everyone's quite spread out. The only battle ongoing is Matty, Spenclose and Squidge. Now with Matty ahead without those penalties, that battle might not be, not completely over, but might be dying down. Just that little bit. We'll wait and see. It usually does calm down a little bit towards the end of a Grand Prix, but what really would spice things up now is one of those neat little safety cars that... Have we had a full call safety car this season? Please, any driver, just remind me, have we had a full safety car during this Season 8? Because I actually cannot remember. I really cannot remember whether we have or not. Now we had a couple of virtuals, but a full safety car? I'm not quite sure. Yeah, we have. We have. Surely we have. As Spenclose has now made his way past Matty, actually, and so has Squidge with a massive amount of battery usage, probably, and a healthy dose of DRS. Better luck of things, wasn't anything Matty could have done about that one. Yellow flags in Sector 3. Which, unfortunately, is where Beat is. I think we can draw the association by now as to how bad an evening ABT is having. But just look at the penalty tab, everyone. There's a lot of penalties flying around. Which magically I don't think is going to change too much, except this. Accept this then. Djokovic and Nasi. That penalty is going to be quite drastic potentially unless Nasi picks up one or two. And he is just having small moments like that every now and again. He's just having moments like that every now and again, it's Nasi, and that is putting his potential race win into jeopardy here. He's coming up to a couple of lap back markers now, though. And something's also happened to Matty at the moment, because he's 2.6 seconds now behind both Red Bulls. We're now going to be using each other to pull away as well. With those 3-second time penalties, they could actually do quite an effective job of it. And Matty's chance at a top 4 or even a podium finish here is very much at risk at the moment. What is going on for everyone? This is YPC test. See if we can get him invited real quick. Hold on. No, this is not the most entertaining action. The whole world see me trying to invite people, and I can't see him online at all. But unfortunately, it's one of the things as a commentator that you have to do is invite people who seemingly have been kicked out of the lobby. Matty 2.4 seconds behind any real competition with the Red Bulls. Now that Prix is over 3, then they're both in the clear. And now let's see if they actually start scrapping it out for who's going to be on that podium, Squidge or Spenclose. Or if they'll just decide as we go on. With 6 laps to go then, Nasi is 2 seconds within where he needs to be to claim this race win. Challenging Djokovic every step of the way here. So both Lockers and YPC is in AI mode then. Really, it's a shame. Where's Douglas in all of this? Could he potentially pick up a point or two? Maybe, but unlikely, the way things are. However, the fastest lap point is very much up for grabs to those willing to risk it. So wait and see if anyone does. Lap 30 out of 35, and we're coming up to the clutch time. As Spenclose gets past Squidge heading into the Wall of Champions, and Spenclose has been leading Red Bull points-wise this season. Pace-wise, one lap pace has been the season of Squidge really, but during consistent races, Squidge has been outperformed by his teammate time and time again so far this season. I know he's getting frustrated with it. Let's see how it all goes. But Spenclose at the moment has that podium place. Matty at the moment has P4 for another 1/10 of a second. .935, 2.835, 2.818 gap from Matty MC or Matty Adam 16, guess I should say. As Squidge goes past his teammate once again, battling it out. Lap 31 out of 35, 4 laps to go. And apart from this little battle, nothing much is going on. Let's see who dives into the pit lane for who. Beatty could without losing anything. Douglas could without losing anything. And if they do, Darren could without losing anything. But that all depends on what Douglas decides to do. If he stays out there, it's a point for him. As for Ginsters, actually ran a really solid race at the moment. In P6, just kept it nice and tidy all throughout. I was in P7, Wigan in P8, Samo in P9 and Darren scoring points at the moment in P10 as well. It's been a really solid race from the pair of them. Matty still holding on. And the way things are at the moment, with how close these Red Bulls are, I wonder if Matty might actually finish in the podium position if things remain this way. They'll have a vested interest in staying quite close to these two. As Douglas now, 3-second time penalty for a multiple track limit warnings infraction. So get 3 of those warnings and it's a straight 3-second penalty. This is not a 50-second time penalty, like it could be if they just scaled it to how they've scaled speeding in the pit lane on this game. If you go 1 kilometer too quick over the limit, you get a 10-second time penalty. Because that is now track or race length dependent, that penalty. Djokovic at the moment doing everything he can to shake Nasi as well, but Nasi 3.5 seconds behind is just staying patient at the moment, knowing what is coming his way. Those penalties from Djokovic, they're not going to disappear. And Nasi at the moment, if he keeps driving like this, is not going to get any. It's a clever race really for Nasi. As soon as those penalties appeared, I think a plan started forming in Nasi's head. What do I have to do to claim this victory? And he's going to do absolutely everything he needs and a bit more. As for Matty at the moment, with the way these Red Bulls are squabbling, they're giving the podium away to a Ferrari. Lads, you probably want to stop doing this at the moment. Because you're about to sacrifice something you can't really afford to sacrifice at the moment in the Constructors' Championship. So you might want to consider that. Oh, as Matty with a massive lock up there, but now, is he within DRS range? Is he going to be able to open that rear wing? If that is the case, podium might be a hit, and yes, he can open the rear wing, and that's a massive problem for both the Red Bull, because now Matty's well and truly onto them, and I doubt he'll let go. Lap 34 out of 35, and yeah, the race is very much coming to a close now. Djokovic, Nasi, and Matty at the moment, your podium sit is provisionally, but Squidge and Spenclose are still there on penalties as well. Doesn't look like anyone's gone in for a set of softs apart from ABT. As Matty now 2 seconds or 2/10 of a second behind Spenclose. Is Spenclose now going to try to back him up a little bit to try to gift his teammate the podium? As Nasi now with a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit warnings, and now the race win comes down to 2/10 of a second with a lap to go. Djokovic, if he puts in the lap of his life now, he is going to be able to hold on to this win. Nasi, if he just kept it clean, would have been on to win this Grand Prix. He could not do so, and now needs to find just that little bit of pace to climb within another 10th of Djokovic. If he does so, he can still win this race. He has a couple of warnings to play around with as well. He's going to give it absolutely everything. How much does Djokovic have left? How many warnings can he use as well? Maybe one through the wall of champions. We've got a couple of sectors left to go, and this is going to be close. But Nasi, he's clawing in the gap. 2.7 seconds now. Is Djokovic going to be able to bring it out in that final corner? 2.7, 2.7 and a half, 2.8 tenths of a second is what we're looking at. It's all going to come down to the final corner. We won't know until we cross the line, basically. It's now 3 seconds again. What's going on? Djokovic through the wall of champions is going to come down to the last corner. Is going to come down to thousandths of a second. Nasi takes the win of the Canadian Grand Prix by 13 thousandths of a second over Djokovic for what might well be the closest winning margin in any F1 history. Squidge is going to come home to take P3 on track, but it won't matter because that position is going to be Matty MC's on penalties, who takes a podium here in Canada. Squidge takes P4 with Spenclose in P5. Ginstes is going to come home for a brilliant and maybe even a career best in any F1 P6. For what has been it's been a nice, solid, stable drive from him. He's not had to do too much, especially during the second half of the race. A race that really could have done well with maybe a safety car to just spice up the action a little bit, but it wasn't meant to be. Absolutely brilliant drive from Ginstes. Nice from Iwatts as well to pick up those that P7. Turns into P8, unfortunately, on penalties. Wiggin takes P7 away from him. Samo then P9. And a couple of points going home to Brackley as well. Brackley? Is it a Brackley? Williams, is it? Might have misspoken there. A couple of points going home to Williams. It's been a very, very entertaining race indeed. Incredibly close winning margin. Jesus Christ. Nasi and Djokovic putting on a show once again. Bit of a different way of putting up a show, but Nasi takes his top step of the podium in Canada then. And there we can see the winning margin then. 13 thousandths of a second. Fastest lap goes to Nasi as well for his effort. Djokovic just shy of the win, but he won't be disappointed with that result either. It was a very, very strong race from him. A couple of drivers whose race won't count here, but it doesn't actually have an effect on the points. But it promotes Douglas a couple of positions up at P11 at the end there. But Darren scoring the 1 point for Alpine this weekend. So a couple of points on the board there for Williams, Alpine. A couple of points on the board for Iwatts and his RB team as well in J-Mar's absence. But then that has been it for the return of the NEF1 season here in 2024 for Season 8 of the NEF1 Championship in the NEF1 Racing League. We will be back in 1 week's time for the Austrian Grand Prix around the Red Bull Ring, quite close to Salzburg if I'm not mistaken, for what will be a very, very interesting race indeed. Shortest track on the NEF1 calendar, quickest track on the NEF1 calendar, with laps being just over a minute long. So it's going to be a really interesting race. Until then, stay safe everyone, take care, and we'll see you in a week's time. Have a good one, stay safe, and peace out.